Founded in 1999 by Jason Burks, Retrospec Films is Oklahoma's largest turnkey production company of its kind. On this podcast, we will discuss the pursuit of creating things and the problems we solve by digging up projects from across the last 20 years and giving you a glimpse behind the scenes where the magic happens. You're listening to Retrospec Films from the archives.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us on Retrospec from the Archives, where we dig into projects from the past, projects from the present, sometimes projects from the future. Actually, we haven't done that yet, but maybe we will.
From the future.
Today, we're going to talk about something we shot next year.
We're that good.
Today, joining me, we have a very special guest who just had a birthday.
Yes.
Probably one of the only people I've ever known that perceptively is always happy. Now, I know you may just hide the sadness from me, but as far as I'm concerned, you're always in a good mood.
Sweet. That's what I go for.
How would you like to introduce yourself? Talk to us about yourself, your skills.
I guess like a photographer, videographer, video editor, Canva enthusiast.
Yes.
I don't know. A little bit of everything.
You went to ORU, I think.
Yes, I did, and graduated in 2021.
What's your name?
Alicia.
What's your middle name?
Joyce.
Alicia
she's a joy.
Joyce.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
That's wonderful. I remember when I looked at your application to Retrospec, somehow it led me to this great photo of you with a gigantic broadcast camera. And I was like, I like that girl.
I think it was like an Ari, and I just touched it. I never actually used it. It was like I posed right in front of it. I was like...
No, I remember thinking, I was like, the fact that she even wants to take a photo by a giant cinema camera means that's my girl right there. So.
Yeah. I'm still waiting to use that camera, but it's
all right. Hey, that day will come.
Yes.
And Jessica, we won't talk about the fact that you keep changing outfits and I don't, because these are all shot on different months.
Yeah,
So,
they are.
No big deal.
You've just worn the same shirt every time.
Because I have 4 shirts that I rotate. I just wash my clothes on the weekends, and then I double them up one day.
There you go.
But I'm glad that you look nice again.
Thanks.
Yeah, so Jessica, producer, client manager.
Yep.
And I don't know. I've said a lot about you, but not in this episode.
Yeah.
Jessica is, what are you, Jessica? You're very talented. You're creative.
Yeah.
And you're great at spreadsheets. And the fact that you love spreadsheets really is the way to my heart, at least.
I do love
'Cause
spreadsheets.
most people don't.
Most people think they're boring.
Satisfying.
Yeah.
It is satisfying. Are you
Yeah.
one of us?
Yeah, it's like bam, done.
Yes. I was sitting with Adam earlier today, and I did some formulation, and he was like, I don't even know what you just did. I tried to add a column the other day, and I couldn't. And I was like, oh, let me show you.
Nice. Put them in parentheses.
Yeah. Yes.
That's how you separate them.
It's the best.
All right. Well, on to what we're talking about today. The intros always take a while because I think we all like each other maybe more than we like the work we do. But we love the work we do.
We do.
So that says a lot. Today we are going to talk about a pretty awesome project opportunity that we got in the last 3 months, and that was reuniting with our good friends at the Galley. So the Galley is an incredible brand that was invented by a man named Roger, and then the company was acquired eventually by a guy named Scott. And not that this episode's about Scott, but I will say if you've not met this man, he's one of the best people you'll ever meet. Definitely been an inspiration to me as a business leader and just a human of integrity who leads a company well. So I love the Galley. I love all the people there. And one of my good buddies that I've known for a long time, Chris Oakes, just started working over there, and then he brought on Michelle, who's
Michelle
also
Bridges,
incredible.
Yep.
And so anyways, we all got together and said, hey, can we create some social content for you guys? And we were super stoked. I just like the Galley. And so for me, I'm like, if I get to shoot it, then I'm happy. I don't really even care what you do with the images. I'm just going to shoot a bunch of them, and someone's going to like them, and I'll do it for free. But they do pay us, so thank you.
Yes, so thank you.
So let's dive into the beginning of this, right? So I feel like maybe, Jessica, why don't we start with your perspectives? I think we sat down and tried to problem solve. What were we aiming at? And what did we come up with? And then how did we execute that?
So we had a meeting with them to talk about social things. And then after that, we hashed out, when we were going to do it, all of that. Well, then we were kind of thinking about the first month and what we wanted to do for the social shoot. And I asked them if I could go over there and sit with them and just go through it. So they said, come on over. We went through everything. We were talking about ideas and brainstorming and saying we could do this and we could do that. So then after we kind of settled on, I think it was 4 reels and 8 photo posts. We went downstairs and we were looking at the galleys because they have several at their office that we wanted to use. And so after that, then I went to the grocery store and bought tons of stuff because we had an ice cream bar. We had a pasta night, a salad night, like I call night, everything. I don't know. It's a dinner in my head, like salad night for dinner. So we had all of that food that I brought in. But we had, I think it was like 6 hours the first shoot day to where we had to get 4 reels and 8 photo posts. So it was a lot of stuff. Alicia and Joel were there and they did awesome. They were taking photos and video. And then I think we started out with like the easiest, less messy part of what we were going to do that day. And then we just worked up to the ice cream sundae. And so the Galley makes it really easy because you can have all these top tier things and you can put little round ramekins or rectangle ramekins. It's amazing. So you can kind of like have your own little shop, that you just have your family. So you can build something. So an ice cream sundae bar was, I think it was Chris or Michelle's idea, but after they said it, I was like, we have to do that. Like, that's amazing. It'll also look aesthetically pleasing on the Galley, and it will be easy to kind of show the viewer or the consumer what you're wanting them to see, if that makes sense. Like, it's very colorful. The ice cream that we got was like the Jenny's ice cream, and it's very colorful. We had cherries, so it was making the Galley pop, essentially, which is what we wanted to do. But the execution was seamless. I mean, it's so beautiful. You just go in, you set it up, and you film it or shoot it. Makes it super simple.
So, Alicia, since we're talking a little bit about execution, talk to us a little bit about, because you don't only work on things that show up in a social environment, but a lot. And talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you think about. Obviously, like sometimes being vertical is a thing.
Yeah, that's what I think about majority of the time. Like, okay, we can use this as an Insta story. It needs to be vertical.
Yeah.
So that's a lot that I think about in the process of doing social content and stuff. Is like making sure the format fits with every shot that I get. So yeah.
When is there, and maybe this is generically true, but is there something about duration or like concept? When you think about concept and you're like story, an Instagram story, how would you differentiate that from like another video that's going to be put on Facebook as a post or something?
Right. So like with Instagram, like obviously like stories are like 15 seconds, right? Or maybe 30 now, but because they always change something as time goes on. And then like with Reels is 90 seconds. And so you just like with everything that you make, it has to be very quick and to the point, because also you have to think about like the viewer's like attention span, because like while you're scrolling, like it's just like 2 seconds and boom, they're like, yep, I don't care. Just go on to the next. So like the first shot has to be good and be very like clean and aesthetic. And that's what the Galley was super easy to do, because they make our job super easy. So yeah, that's what I think about.
I'm curious, when you're contributing to ideas, which I guess no one really, we probably all don't want to know how many hours we spend on social media. But I would be curious, like when I go to movie theaters, right? And probably everyone that works at Retro gets this, but someone's like, "I bet it's really hard for you to watch movies, isn't it? Because you work in film. That's what everybody says." And I'm like, actually, yes, it is, and I don't like that. But I'm curious for you, when you're in a social environment, like not at work, Like, do you look at things through a certain scope? Like, do you sometimes see things and go, ooh, good idea, and write it down? Or does that change your social experience at all?
Oh, yeah, totally. Like on Instagram, especially if I see something that we can easily execute, I'm like saving that into my folder. And it's literally called Retro Ideas. And so that way we could do it. So yeah, I'm always thinking about like doing stuff for retro and the social side or even for our clients. And it's just super easy and inspiring to get on social media. And I'm already on there anyways for personal use. So might as well use it for business as well.
So let's talk about what you were doing on the Galley. Now, I don't even really know if you do more photography or more videography, but talk to us about at least the parts that you played on the Galley, and then maybe the approach that you had to those things.
Yeah, so for the Galley, I was like picturing myself as like a second shooter for Joel, like anything he needed or anytime there was like a break, and I was like, hey, I can help take a photo or like just help with ideas and lighting, and I don't know, and hang out with the clients is always fun. So yeah, that's what I did during the day of the shoot, and then I came back and edited the photos. And then there was actually one photo I was struggling with because it was one of the photos that you took, Jason. Out in the it's all good. It's in the balcony.
Yeah, it was the outdoor Galley for the 4th of July, like. Yeah. Yes.
Why were you struggling?
So, okay, it was a good photo, but they were wanting like the background to look like it's a backyard, and we were on a balcony, and you see a road and like a parking lot, and it's like, oh gosh, how am I going to do this on Photoshop? So thank God we have Chris, which is like a Photoshop like expert.
Oh yeah.
And so he was able to help and fix, and it looks beautiful. So I was like, thank you so much, because I was struggling for the first like 2 hours. I was like, Lauren, this is going to take me all day to figure out. And then it took like 5 minutes for Chris.
Yes, he did it so fast. He sent me like 5 after that, and I was like, I only needed you to do 1, but thank you so much. And then I sent them to Chris at the Galley, and he was like, oh, this is amazing. Just make sure that this is changed. It was like the bushes, and that was it. And we changed it. It was so, thank you, Chris. Yeah. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't think we specifically queued up any of this content, but maybe we can describe some of it. So obviously that was one of the pieces. I know that there was some things that were stop motion-esque that we did with the straight down shot.
Yep.
And then we had another piece that was kind of Photoshop that you and Joel worked on the black backdrop with the 3 different taps.
Yes,
that was an easy one to Photoshop.
And turned out amazing.
Yes, and they've never had a photo like that where they've had all 3 taps like next to each other. So they actually, that was in our second session when we were brainstorming, and they were like, well, we can build a box.
Oh,
and a guy at the Galley built a black box.
Yeah, and put them in it.
Yeah, and put them in there. So now they have a photo of all 3.
And you did mention earlier the ice cream video that we had, which was really cool. The pasta night video. And then, of course, you just mentioned, I think we did some video. Did we do a video that was Memorial Day? I don't even remember.
So it was like 4th of July.
Okay, so
party.
it's upcoming.
Yes.
So we probably don't want to ruin that one for them.
Right. But follow the Galley on social media.
Wait, I don't think this episode's going to come out till after that.
Oh.
That's okay. We're lost in the vortex inception of time right now.
Time.
We're actually in the future right now. So when you watch this in the past. So let's see. Some other elements we did. Oh, one I really liked was the hot cold tap video.
Yeah.
That one turned out. Edited that one.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful.
It was so nice.
I can watch it over and over again. And that's the kind of reels that you want, because it's just like aesthetically pleasing. It's just like, it's just so easy to watch.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, you talked about working on the editing of the photography. I think a lot of people probably don't even understand what that even means, right? Like it's kind of, and granted, no offense to them, but there is a lot that goes into the photography to get it perfect. And it's not always just, sometimes it is cropping, sometimes it is coloring, et cetera. But what all do you do? Like when you're like, I have this big old batch of photos, now I'm going to try to like process it so people love it.
Yeah. So Joel actually did all the hard work for me. He makes my job easy in the editing side, right? But my process is like I plug it all into Lightroom, go through them one by one, and then rate them, and then I color correct, and then I like fix up the lining, make sure it looks good in cropping and all that fun stuff. And then I go into Photoshop if it needs it to. Like for example, with those 3 faucets with the black background. So yeah, that's my...
Sometimes, we don't talk about it a lot, but really, like, even color grading, it is so subjective. Like, it really is art. So, like, for you, like, what do you do? Do you just look at it and go, I think this needs more pink? Like, what do you do?
I don't know. It's just like one of those things I've just like, my eye has like grown as the more I get into this, if that makes sense. It's like, because I remember looking back at Ben's like his editing techniques, and it's just so different and so cool. Like, you know, we're doing the same thing, but at the end of the day, we have our own style.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that. But I don't know, with my style, I feel like I'm more like contrasty and more bold and more like saturated.
Yep.
And not totally saturated, obviously, right? But I just feel like I'm more than the norm.
It's because you have red hair.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You like saturation.
Yes.
I like the color.
Yes.
All the rest of us, our hair is black and white, but yours is in color.
Yeah. You got that color.
That's awesome. Well, very cool. So going forward, Jess, why don't you just tell us a little bit about, I don't know, we've got another project. We haven't done it yet, so we don't have to go into depth, but we've got some more stuff coming up for the Galley.
Yes.
And then maybe just, you know, when you think in terms of like social assets, I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a new world. Last 5 years in which Retrospec's getting hired to create social assets now, kind of a new thing. Because I don't even know if anyone would know what digital social assets would have been like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know either, but companies get hired to do it now. But tell us just a little bit about, I don't know, the approach to social and how it's so consumptive, and you create all this great stuff and it gets eaten alive and you have to create more of it.
Yeah. So we have a shoot coming up with them, a social shoot, and then we're filming a commercial for the Galley too. So look out for that. But social, I mean, I think we delivered maybe like 400 photos to them the first time.
Yep.
And I'm not sure if they've used all of them yet, but it just depends, you know? And then they have an eye of what they want to use.
Right.
So we send them tons of different stuff that they could use. But they were trying out 3 months, you know, as a social client and seeing what all we could do for them.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
I don't even know what my question was, but I
don't
think that
either.
answered it. That made sense to me.
Assets. That's all I remember.
Assets.
So
I would say this. It's a little bit, to me, artistically, it's a little bit sad that there are things such as stories in which high-quality content can show up for 24 hours and then die.
But I think the Galley saves all of the good stuff for like posts and reels. And that's what we are creating stuff for. We're creating assets for their reels and their photo posts. And so we had, I think, like 8 photo posts, and I think we delivered like 3 extra reels the first month because we had so many photos that we were able to make stop motion reels, which was really awesome too, because they were like, thanks guys.
Yeah.
And now to see them posted after on their page, I
very
love
rewarding.
Yes, it is. And I love all of them and comment, and I'm like, I want a Galley, but you and Taylor are gonna have Galleys.
You are?
Plural.
Several.
So,
Several. Can we get one at the office?
right.
Maybe. I don't know that our countertop merits
I
a
know.
workstation.
So, Taylor, I'll be coming over to use Galley.
For salad night.
Yeah.
For salad night.
Jessica's having salad night.
Taylor and I would love that. Just saying.
We'll make that happen. All right, well, that brings us to a close on this episode of Retrospec from the Archives. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope that you go buy a Galley workstation or a Galley tap, or I think they have, let's see, a soap dispenser.
A wash
They
station.
have a wash station. They have
A knife block.
a knife block.
It's magnetic. Sorry.
Yep. They have a lot of stuff. It's really good stuff. You should go check out their things.
Yes.
And also, if you enjoyed this episode, we've got like 40 plus other episodes. So you can find them on YouTube. You can find them on our website. You can find them on Spotify, podcasts, Apple, all the different things that you can go listen to for podcasts. So hopefully you had fun, and we will see you next time, or maybe we'll just hear you, or maybe you'll just hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop talking. Peace.
Bye.